Hey everyone, welcome back to OCD Recovery's YouTube channel, where today we're going to talk about one of the biggest myths, one of the number one things that keeps most anxiety, pain, OCD, PTSD, GAD, panic disorder, any life hardships that you're going through. This one piece of information is everywhere. There's no shortage of it. People spend thousands of dollars on contraptions, tens and thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. I've worked with many people who have spent $50,000 to $100,000 to $250,000 on these type of things, and that is trying to calm your nervous system to get better. This is arguably the biggest myth and the biggest mistake that anyone could ever make on their journey to any sort of recovery in the mental health space. This does not mean you can't do things to put yourself in a better health perspective, going to the gym, doing yoga, meditation. But if you are doing these things to calm yourself down, which is what it's always explained, how to calm your nervous system, wrong. How to do this to get wrong. The goal is not to rid yourself of anything. It's to change your perspectives on your pain, on your dizziness, on your vertigo. And if things go away, that's great. That's why in the pain world, Dr. Don Murphy, just such a great statement, the difference between pain-free and free of pain. Free of pain means you're living life on your terms whilst the pain is there, with an unconditional life acceptance, which he misses that individual part when he's explaining it, which is no really big deal. But if you're doing things to calm yourself down, you are in big trouble. Before I go any further, please reach out, phil@ocdrecovery.com. Please do not sit in silence. We work all over the world. There's nobody that I cannot think of anyone that works for as many countries as we do. We do translator calls as necessary, and that gives you access to our very unique moderated WhatsApp groups, which is basically its own type of social media. There's about 12 groups, a little bit more than a dozen groups. You'll go in one of those groups. You're around different people, about 100, 150 different people. It's just a lot of fun. So, okay, let's start off with some of the big things that are correct about like anything you're doing to make yourself feel better. I go to the gym because I like the way it makes me feel. I do not go to the gym to hold onto a state of calm and then hold on to that like a teddy bear, a child in the storm. I can't let this go, because that fuels the fear of never getting better and the fear of relapses, the fear of being stuck forever, the fear of going backwards, and the fear of developing something new. The triangle prongs of fear, primarily being stuck forever, conditional life acceptance. If I stay stuck forever, if I develop something worse, if I go back to a worsening state, my life is ruined, it's a catastrophe, I can't enjoy life, and these very catastrophic statements and overgeneralizations, which is why the understanding from the book that's always on my desk, How to Stubbornly Refuse to Make Yourself Miserable About Anything, which can be found on our website at ocdrecovery.com, underneath the resource tab, is a critical piece of understanding your belief systems. I do things such as smoke cigars because it's very meditative to me. I do not go and smoke a cigar because I'm trying to calm my nervous system down. Although it's very cool to understand this stuff, you never need to know a single thing about the nervous system, your prefrontal cortex, synapses, dopamine, deregulation, dysregulation. These are all fancy terms that people primarily use, intelligent individuals that don't actually understand what they're really talking about. Now, I know you heard me say that and you said that's very arrogant, but they don't. We just have to be real. I do not see people almost ever use those terms that I would say that person has a good understanding of unconditional self-life, other acceptance. They have the lived experience of chronic 24/7 pitfall despair, obsessive compulsive disorder, other anxiety-based disorders, CPTSD, GAD, panic disorder, severe TMS and CRPS. Most people that are helping people in these worlds do not have the thing, okay? That's why usually the best advice in the addiction world comes from someone who is homeless, injecting hard drugs, had nothing, came out the other side, now has a six-figure job, just that's one example, and they have a lot of hope. The personal experience with it is almost mandatory in order to give the best advice. Who's going to give the best advice? An MBA from Harvard who knows the book about business, but he's been a professional student for 45 years. Again, nothing wrong with being a teacher. We need academics. Or the person, I have a couple friends like this who went bankrupt a couple times, kept on trying in the real world, all the legislation problems, and then became very successful and have a company with a couple hundred employees. Probably going to take advice from that person. More than just me. Practical experience is, in my opinion, way more important than anything else. And the reason why I'm giving this background about this video is because when you don't have the practical experience, it's very easy to say that the goal is to calm your nervous system. Absolutely fucking nonsense. It's complete nonsense. And anyone who's been stuck for a while knows it's nonsense. It's why you're rushing around so desperately. I don't like using the word you're being preyed upon. That happens with like, oh, get this light therapy thing, get this at-home contraption that's $9,000. I mean, I've heard everything on earth you could ever think of. And it always comes down to their belief systems, which is, if I'm stuck with this for the rest of my life, as I said, my life is ruined. All their avoidance behaviors, not doing this, boxing their life in, filling that back out. Your life is very small. We have to break down the walls of the box and then let that spread out and bring back your life again. And all the compulsive searching to know what's wrong. How many of you right now have been compulsively trying to search for ways to calm and regulate your nervous system? But ask yourself, why am I still stuck? Why am I still stuck in this cycle? Shouldn't I not, or the rational shouldn't I not be in this state if these things were working for me? But they're not. They're not working for you and they're never going to work. Again, I have to state this. Yoga, meditation, retreats, all these stuff, great for the experience of life and the probability of having I don't really believe in life-changing experiences. I don't like that term. It's too quick fix. Like I'm going to have a life-changing 7 days in Bali under a DMT trip. That could be a whole nother video. A lot of nonsense, a lot of overhype. You follow people at these big seminars. They're jumping on stage for 5 days straight. I follow them up with them 1 year later. We're doing the same things because the principles, the time-tested principles of Stoicism and unconditional acceptance and other Greco-Roman philosophies that have been around for thousands of years are difficult and hard to instill and embody because it takes grit, persistence, and work over an extended period of time. Again, I have never once been like, I'm doing this. This is why I made so much progress with this. I did things because I wanted to get better, but I never was like, I'm doing this to calm my brain or calm my nervous system. And when you say this stuff, the uprise is unbelievable, but their results are very poor. It keeps people coming back and more and needing more contraptions and needing more things. You don't need any of that. You need to learn to let go. And by the way, letting go is explained also incorrectly almost every time. Letting go is not bliss. Letting go is a fucking horrific experience in the beginning. Physical symptoms going up, dizziness, DPDR, vertigo, IBS, shitting yourself, constipation, GERD, pins and needles. Your symptoms are going up on the bell curve because you're withdrawing from doing these certainty-seeking behaviors. So when you let go, this is, in my opinion, the correct way to say it. Learn to let go and feel the worst you've ever felt in your entire life. Smile, Nick. That is the correct way to say it. Letting go is explained like, learn to let go, and there's like a fucking dog in the background, like a Labrador and like balloons. That's not what letting go is. This is childish fantasies. Letting go requires extreme risk. It's like I tell people, jump off this cliff, you have a parachute on, and you might have a parachute in there. Good luck, and I push you off. That's what it feels like. The leap of faith. As you do that, and you bring that with you everywhere, and you read the books on the reading list, and you're changing your belief systems, and you got to be honest with yourself. This is hard. There's no way to know for sure. If I would have never had OCD, I would have never standard meditated my whole life. I compulsively meditated like a madman, only until I was really stuck. And I look at other things meditative to me. I mean, you have this standard form of meditation, of course, but I also look at maybe yoga as a form of meditation. Hiking for me in the big mountains in Colorado is very meditative. Smoking cigars and reading is meditative. These hard set rules on like, this is meditation and nothing else is just not true. And the same thing is with yoga. You get people that go on these massive yoga retreats and these big spiritual DMT, ayahuasca type trips, psilocybin, anything like that, because they're trying to get this calming effect. You are really setting yourself up for a disaster. You know how many people I work with that come in that do these big spiritual trips that started the most insane OCD nightmares of their life? Something to be aware of. And it's marketed that way, especially in the PTSD, CPTSD world. And by the way, CPTSD/PTSD and OCD work very similar with some slight differences. So, but they're not these like extremely separate things, etc. Unconditional acceptance, you know, you might not be able to get to maybe a baseline piece with CPTSD if you want to go down that route, but you can more than likely make a lot of progress with unconditional acceptance behavioral changes. But the CPTSD world is not explained properly with unconditional acceptance. Not even close. It's just not. It's just not. So it's really sad. So again, you have to be aware of these like traps that people are falling into. The goal is not to calm yourself down. The goal is to feel everything and then do things that are good for the structure in your life. And if that helps you calm down when you're doing them, that's great. But if it doesn't, that's not the end of the world either. But if you're going in with the mindset of I'm doing this to calm myself down, you will be in big trouble. Thank you as always, Phil at OCDrecovery.com. Let me know what you think. Please comment down below. I know there's a lot of things I talked about in this video that's going to drive people nuts. That's okay. It's how it goes. It's why I love the internet, and I hope to hear from you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day, everyone.